So the first one is we all know the Hula Bowl is coming up, and we have some players that will be participating in the Hula Bowl. So it's a game dedicated to the seniors. It's the longest, or I guess longest tradition game dedicated to the seniors. DT Sheffield will be there. Jet Elad will be there. Daryl Jabome will be there. He's a redshirt junior, but he could declare for the draft. And Ethan Kaliakmanis, who has declared for the draft this week too. They will all be there. So congratulations to all of them. I'm happy about our representation, but I was really hoping that Jabome would come back for another year. I guess he still could. I don't know if that eliminates you from playing again next year. Like if you can just play in that game as a redshirt junior and then decide you still want to play. But either way, happy to be represented.
I heard, Gabe, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I heard that I read an article saying Jabome was leaving.
Well, like I feel like for Jabome.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? He's leaving the program.
You saw that? I didn't see that anywhere.
It could mean that he's either taking a absence from the program for like for a personal reason of time, like how some players do leave their schools for personal reasons or something of that nature, or it could just be because he's planning on either transferring out or declaring. But you could still, I think you could still do a lot of the the draft scouting events and still come back to school, because I know you can do it in the NBA, so you might be able to do it in the NFL.
Yeah, Adam, I don't see that anywhere. I'm looking now.
I saw it last night, but I saw it in, I forget what article I saw it in, but I saw that last night. And Pittsburgh Husker take two. We had technical difficulties at the first attempt, but I think we're going to lose him. And we could talk about that as part of our New Year's resolutions. But
yeah, I mean, I have that as part of mine, somewhat. But yeah, I don't see him leaving in any articles, but I guess it's possible that he might have announced it and came back. And Jason, we didn't ban you, my guy. We had one come up. We had a live stream and we had technical difficulties, so we had to do this without the notification, I suppose. Congratulations to everyone. I hope that we show out. I hope, who I think can benefit the most from this is DT Sheffield, because he had a good year. He didn't have any standout games, but he didn't have any terrible games either. He was kind of like a steady target. But this game, he could legitimately have a really good game and potentially shoot up a draft boards.
And just it's not just the game. There's also the training aspects of it as well. So they're going to potentially do 7-on-7s. They're potentially going to do 1-on-1s with the DBs and the wide receivers. They most likely are going to do a pass scale segment of the practices at the Hula Bowl. So that's going to be a great time for DT Sheffield to display his speed, because that's what he came to Rutgers to do. He was a speedster for most of the season, and this is a great opportunity to show that against a lot of guys.
All right, wait a second here. I gotta be that guy. What the hell is the Hula Bowl? I knew the Senior Bowl. I've heard of the Senior Bowl. What is the Hula Bowl?
It's kind of the same thing as the Senior Bowl. So basically, the Senior Bowl invites the 100 best seniors, the 100 best,
okay.
So 1 to 100. And then there's other bowls, the FCS or the East-West Shrine Bowl, which includes all players going down from D2 all the way to D1. There's the Hula Bowl as well, and they're just basically last chance games / drills / anything to get their talents out to NFL scouts.
It's like you were upset that, like, for the last game we couldn't get Ethan out there or DT Jet Elad out there for one more game. But in a sense, this is that game for them.
I think we should have gone to the Birmingham Bowl and said no to the Hula Bowl.
Well, you don't say no to the Hula Bowl if you're an individual.
The Hula Bowl.
You're not going there as a team. You're going there as you're representing yourself.
So let me guess. The Hula Bowl's in Hawaii?
Correct, I believe.
So they're going to fly about 10 hours to Hawaii when we could have been playing Clay Helton, former USC coach, in the Birmingham Bowl. I think that bowls like this, I'm not really I don't know how well that they benefit players, because, you could perform poorly too. And I think the draft status for the players that are going apart from Ethan Kaliakmanis, is probably undrafted free agents. But I digress. Go on.
That's why I would say it's actually a good thing, because for an athlete, you're already taking that risk, knowing that you're either going to do well at this or not do well. That's why a lot of, even going down to high school, that's why a lot of high school athletes do prospect camps, because they just want to showcase onto a grander scale. And we saw DT Sheffield not have good games against pretty much most of the Big Ten schedule, and he was nowhere to be found against Oregon. He was nowhere to be found against Ohio State. We saw the same thing, kind of similar to Daryl Jaboom, who had a decent game against Ohio State, but he was nowhere to be seen against Oregon. So same thing with Ethan Kaliakmanis as well. His poorest games have been, outside of that Illinois game, has been against top-tier competition in the Big Ten. So for those three guys on its own, I think as well, Eric O'Neal is most likely doing the East-West Shrine, because I know he was a top prospect to look at the beginning of the year. And typically, if you're on that watch list, they already have an invite for you in the mail by the time the season ends. This is pretty much a last chance for a lot of them to still be like, yes, those 2 games I did underperform, but there's a chance that I can still show you that I can perform at the next level. And for undrafted free agent type of tier guys, like you mentioned, this could be a chance for them to get their name called in the later days of the draft instead of just after the draft.
And I think that DT is a guy that he's probably not he's not on draft big boards right now, but I think that he's such a good athlete that stuff like this can only really benefit him. To me, this is the type of competition that will showcase his skills, because honestly, he is a better wide receiver 1 than he is a wide receiver 3. That's why I think he was so impressive at North Texas. He's one of those. He's a ball hawk, and that's not like a bad thing in football. If you're a ball hawking wide receiver, that means you pull in targets. And we saw that DT was most effective when his role was increased over the year. So I think that a bull like this, one that can showcase his route running ability, his switch and momentum, we don't get to see that much when you play in the slot. You don't get to do a lot of crafty routes. So I think that stuff like this can only benefit him.
DT was, first and foremost, he was a really nice guy. Great to come on the show. He's very fast. He's also very quick. He's got good hands. But when you were saying that they underperformed against like Ohio State and Oregon, if I was a scout, my answer to that question would be simple. You underperformed because you were playing elite competition and they were better than you. And that's what I think is going to hurt them in the draft.
They're still going to be seeing that same style of competition at the Hula Bowl.
You think?
It's not just, yeah. So they can still be like, okay, the thing is, as a player, if you're coming off of a team that's had a subpar year, you still want to be able to show scouts that, maybe it was just the system at hand more than it was just the player. And that's where the Hula Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl comes into play. It gives a lot of these players trying to get drafted the opportunity to show that.
And this isn't related necessarily to the Hula Bowl, but one point you said earlier, Adam, and I 100% agree about Oregon. It was unacceptable how Ethan played against Oregon, but believe it or not, scoring 9 points against Ohio State and getting a touchdown that's above average for playing Ohio State. That's like putting up 40 against an NFL team. If you're a professional, it's like a team putting up 45 against us. In terms of proportionally speaking, we're in the higher percentile for scoring 9 against Ohio State.
Well, I agree. I understand what you're saying, and Ethan is the least blameworthy, in my opinion, for the Oregon and Ohio State games, because he was under constant pressure all game. Receivers weren't open. So I wouldn't put too much on him. But my advice to Ethan would be, do not get on that plane to Hawaii. Well, first you're going to have to fly to Los Angeles, then Hawaii. Do not get on the plane.
Not necessarily. I flew straight to Hawaii from New York in 2016.
Oh, I guess I'm behind the times then.
But
I wish I was able to fly to Hawaii to have
it was 14 hours. It was 14 hours though, so maybe for your own sake you want to lay over.
Yeah, for me, I would go nuts for 14 hours. But look, I don't think Ethan should be going to any Senior Bowls, because I think he's proven himself at this point to be a draftable prospect. So why would he go?
I would say because
7th round.
This is going to segue into what my question is going to be next. First off, if he's projected to be a 7th round guy, you want to go to the Hula Bowl to make sure that you're in at least 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, because Gabe's already doing it. As we see right now, like you get more money getting paid in the earlier rounds than you do in the later rounds. For example, Puka Nacua is having the best season of his career and more of a lot of people's careers. He only getting paid $4 million to do so. But I wanted to ask y'all fellas, who do you think has the most pressure on them to perform really well at the Hula Bowl? Jabone, Sheffield, or Ethan?
Jet Elad's in the mix too. I'm going with Ethan. To me, for the reasons Adam said, it's Ethan. DT has the least to lose because, like I said, he's naturally super athletic. I already made my points for why this would benefit DT. Jet Elad, he already had he had some blown coverages, but he also had some really nice plays, and he was arguably our best defender this year. Jabome, if he performs badly, and he's already nowhere to be seen on draft big boards, he can just come back for another year. I think the answer is Ethan because, like Adam, like you said, he has had a great year, probably the best statistical year out of any Rutgers quarterback ever, at least in recent memory. But this is his chance on a national stage, and I'm just afraid that with receivers he doesn't have chemistry with, he could have a bad day. So that's my answer.
That is 100% right. First of all, you're playing with people you haven't played before, and he's not going to get that much playing time.
And he's got the draft stock to worry about.
There is zero pressure on every one of the Rutgers players, including Ethan, because they have nowhere to go but up. So there's no pressure on them. There's pressure on people like Jalen Milroe last year, where there's serious questions about whether this guy's going to go first round, second, third round. I think that these guys are either going to be undrafted free agents or 6th or 7th round, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think of the group, Ethan is the single one who is most likely to be drafted if he does, and he'll be in the late rounds.
I think the pressure's on Jet Elad because Jabone still has an eligibility to come back, and I think as well that I don't think O'Neal has any more eligibility, but Elad, he's one of the few players on that defense that are trying to get drafted, and it's hard to prove to a lot of teams that you are a guy to look at when your defense was so bad on a national scale. So him being able to give those personal one-on-one reps in front of these scouts' faces will have them potentially look past the team numbers. And that's why I feel he's going to benefit most from what I said before, being able to show that you're better than the system that you played in.
I mean, that's why I think that Ethan has the most pressure because actually, Adam, what you said about none of these players have anything to lose. Well, in terms of draft stock, the only player who does have something to lose out of the aforementioned participants in the Hula Bowl is Ethan, because right now he's projected undrafted, but only by 5 to 10 spots. Because I believe last week or the week prior, we went over an updated PFF list that had Ethan around 260 or 240 or something, and there's usually around 228 to 250 draft picks, depending on penalties or what I forget what the rule is called exactly, where if you hire a minority coach in the NFL, you get a draft pick. But regardless, there's draft picks that fluctuate in the NFL. So there's a little bit of fluidity for Ethan to possibly get drafted, and that's why I think he has them.
I think Ethan would be better suited to go into the combine because I think he's going to be an undrafted free agent, most likely. Could go 6 or 7, probably UDFA. I just don't know how much he's going to increase his draft stock in the Hula Bowl. We'll probably play 2 or 3 series at most.
Yeah.
Ethan, stay in New Jersey. There's no purpose. Get ready for the combine if you get an invite. You've had a great year.
I would say take the chance. Always bet on yourself in these regards. You did the thing. You did it going into the portal and deciding to come to Rutgers. Try to do it again at the Hula Bowl. And just like what you said, 2 to 3 series, but he's most likely going to be playing with other star wide receivers, and he's used to playing with guys like that. So it gives him an opportunity to show that, I'm good with other skill players as well, and I'm more than
maybe for him the answer is just like how it's the complete opposite for Jet Elot or Jabome. Maybe for him, the answer is, hey, it's not the system. I am that good instead of it is the system. I'm actually good. So I wanted to segue because for my second pickup dates, this isn't newsworthy. This is actually about the reception of a previous episode. We got some heat for aspiring to get Michigan State quarterback Aiden Childs in the portal. So I want someone in the audience listening to this, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, all Rutgers VOCFB. Like I said, we got some heat. So explain to us, how is it either a reach to land Childs, or how is it not an attractive option at quarterback to land Childs? Because I got some news for you. Either way, we are going into next season without Ethan Kaliakmanis, and Surace can be great. There's no questions asked about that. Of course he can be, but we need some competition at quarterback one. And so that is my take for why Aiden Childs would be good. I mean, they had a bad record, sure, but he also had 10 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. I believe he had close to 70% completion percentage. And so he had a great year, but at the same time, there's a bunch of other quarterbacks that are already declaring their intent to enter the portal. Why is that not a good fit?
Because you can definitely get something better than Aiden Childs in the portal. You can definitely get something better. It's good that they're getting guys already from, let's say, Michigan State to have interest. Like, most likely that's not going to be the only guy. But if Aiden Childs is the only guy you're able to grab in a portal that currently has Rocco Beck, has a lot of smaller mid-major guys as well that have put their name in the portal from the group of 5. Alonzo Barnett, that's a potential guy that they can get as well from JMU and going to Jersey. That's an easy grab for them as well. So there's guys already that are in the portal that look better than Aiden Childs, that play better than Aiden Childs. So why, if you're gonna try to go big, because we know they're not going to get Trindad Chambliss. We know they're not going to get a guy as like Drew Messemaker.
Don't say that.
Or Sam Levitt. Messemaker had the best year of a freshman QB at North Texas.
But my only hope is that he's G5 and maybe you want to go to the Big Ten. That's my only pitch.
He's already in Texas. There's at least there's 2 SEC schools and 1 Big 12 school in that general area. They're going to look at him because all 3 of them have QBs that are going to be. Well, no, Texas is not involved in this, but Texas A&M and potentially Texas Tech have potential pieces that they could look at to add onto the roster at the QB depth chart. But you have better options than Aiden Child that are available. So if you're a Rutgers fan seeing that, it's okay to kind of worry at it.
But if we want to sustain KJ Duff or Ian Strong or Antoine Raymond, he's still a good quarterback. Michigan State having a terrible record, to me, usually quarterbacks get the blame. That is not his fault. He had a very efficient year this year.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on here where you say people are giving you heat for that suggestion. I stand by that suggestion. I mean, for those of you who are giving heat for that, what do you want us to do? We have a quarterback who is going to be starting in his first year, and we don't really know how good he is going to be. So to have competition in there and a very capable backup even is important. And Aiden Childs is not horrible. And certainly he has performed well enough to warrant consideration along with Mestemaker. So I think I did see one of those comments that you posted that's asked who gave us a microphone.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. They say, I think it's the same guy. He says that in like almost every video.
Yeah, and he can say all he wants, but maybe he can give us his reasoning of why he believes that. I mean, we don't really even have a backup quarterback that I know of at this point.
Our backup quarterback right now is the kid from Germantown Academy, and he's going to be a freshman too.
Okay, so we need at least a backup, or preferably someone who's going to compete with AJ for the starting job and who has experience. Aiden Childs is good enough to warrant consideration by Rutgers.
I mean, he's good enough to start over AJ, or AJ is good enough to start over him. I don't think that either one of those guys starting next year would be a bad thing.
Yeah, it'll be a tight knit QB battle for that starting position. That's going to be something that if they're able to land Childs, we're most likely not going to find out who the QB is until the week of the game, because that's something that's going to be tight knit through spring and most likely tight knit through the summer.